AITA for refusing to marry my cousin? Now before everyone freaks out, I'm from Pakistan. Cousin marriage is very normal here, and I would say it's especially so in my family. If possible, I would like to get advice from brown people because the white people solutions like cut them off and going no contact are not an option at all. So I, 22, female, was recently asked for my hand in marriage. My aunt, father's sister, brought a marriage proposal for me for her youngest son, 25, male. My family was absolutely ecstatic about it. I, however, not so much. A little background is that I actually dated this particular cousin when I was like in 10th grade, about 14 years old. Not my greatest moment, but at that time my brother had recently gotten married to another cousin of ours. They had been dating for like 9 years or something, so I was being a delusional idiot who thought she could have something similar. My family does not know anything about it till this day because they're very, very conservative about stuff like this, especially when it comes to daughters. We obviously broke up because he was starting to act like my literal father. He would get mad at me for talking to boys. I went to a co-education school, would constantly ask to check my phone and for my social media passwords. I had a lot of unsupervised access to internet from a young age and was a little too mature for my age. I immediately ended the relationship and distanced myself from him. But now he sent his mother with a formal marriage proposal. My father was obviously ready to agree the moment they came over, but thankfully he decided to ask me for my opinion before giving an answer back. I refused because that guy was literally my ex and had been kind of stalking me at family events and stuff since the breakup. Now I'm being guilt-tripped, emotionally blackmailed and literally threatened by my family for refusing. I'm so confused right now. Because I know that man would be an unbearable husband. He was a controlling boyfriend and he'd be worse as a husband. On top of that, my cousin is constantly messaging me and urging me to agree. He's making promises and whatnot. So I just want to know, AITA? Should I just give in and accept my fate because I literally cannot see any other way out of this? Mini update. My parents have agreed to sit down and talk today after dinner. It's currently 3:40 in the morning here. I've also gotten in contact with the woman who used to teach any Quran when I was little. She's still a friend of my mother and often visits. I've asked her to come and talk with my mother and get her to see things from the Islamic perspective. Wish me luck, guys. I'm not sure what's going to happen now. I've also decided to talk with my cousin and try to explain to him why I don't want to marry him. Hopefully he'll agree to refuse this marriage as well, but the chances are low because he's an a-hole. Update. So it's been a day or two since I had a talk with my parents, my cousins, and a religious scholar that taught me as a child. Please bear with me since my mind is still very much a mess. First of all, let's start with the lady that taught me Islam as a child. She came over on the 5th. My father wasn't home, so she talked with my mother. Basically that lady, bless her heart, went off on my mother. She was literally screaming about how wrong they were and whatnot. I actually cried seeing her defend my decision like that because she was the first person on my side. My mother looked very ashamed, but was still defending her decision. Eventually, my mother asked the lady to leave. I was slapped for talking about family matters with strangers. Next comes my parents. My father came home in the evening and my mother immediately told him about my stunt. I was scolded, berated, and called every name in the book. I tried having a conversation with them, tried explaining my side, but it was all just useless. It was clear that their mind was made up. So in a moment of pure anger and pain I threatened to end my own life if they tried forcing me further. Apparently using their threats against them makes me the evil person. But thankfully they've been sort of quiet since then and haven't really tried to talk to me about the marriage any longer. As for my cousin, I met with him yesterday. I called him and asked to meet during my internship hours as to not make it suspicious. That a-hole thought in his delusional little mind that I called to reconcile with him. As if I would look at that knockoff, China version of a rat twice. As soon as I started talking and explaining why I didn't want to marry him, he got pissed. We were in the building's parking lot in his car, so he literally started the car, locked the doors and drove onto the highway so I couldn't get out. I got yelled at for being a witch who didn't understand his feelings. Didn't care for him. He threatened to literally F***RCE himself on me. Literally saw me and ruin my honor because I don't want to marry him? I'm so disgusted right now. I agreed with him for a few minutes so he'll drop me back at the building. Thankfully it worked. I haven't told anyone in my family about what he said because I know instead of defending me, they'll ask why I was even in a car with him. I'm just so tired of all of this. I've started to actually want to follow through on my threat. I already know that my life will be hell if I end up getting married to him. He's crazy, absolutely psychotic. I don't know what else to do anymore. Update 2. Small update. So after reading all the comments on the previous update, I've decided to try and seek asylum in another country. I have a few friends in university that hold a European passport, so I'll probably reach out to them. Hopefully it'll all go well. I've also decided to try to reason with my family one last time. I'm going to sit down and come clean about everything. The dating, the car ride and the cousin's threats. I'm pretty sure this will just end up in me being berated, but at this point I'm okay with that as long as the marriage idea is dropped. Edit. So after reading all the comments, I've decided to not talk to my parents about the dating and stuff. I didn't realize how it could be used to further push me into the marriage. I guess I'm just too desperate to find a way out and haven't been thinking clearly. I'm going to figure out a way to get out of this country first and foremost. Once everything is set and I'm away from all of them, I'll tell them everything via message and cut them off. Thank you so much to everyone that took the time to give me some advice. It means a lot, especially since I don't have anyone to do that for me right now. Update 3. I'm going to get straight into it. I got married. Yup. To my cousin. So much for refusing and making plans and blah blah blah. Life is such a fucking witch. I actually had a plan. I applied for this exchange student program. I was getting it for free on some scholarship, so fully paid off. All I had to cover was my plane ticket, which I was working on. Once in Europe, I was going to apply for asylum. All of that went down the drain. And it was all because my father got into an accident. I am now realizing just how stupid I am for actually being this naive. But basically the accident was used to guilt trip me and make me marry my cousin. He looked so fucking smug on the Nika day, yesterday, all grinning and giggling while I was literally bawling my eyes out. So today marks day 1 of my married life. Lucky me. Not only do I have to tolerate my cousin rubbing it in my face that he got me, like I'm some fucking trophy, I also have to let him touch me, nothing sexual yet, and tolerate his presence. It doesn't help that he's still living with his family, so I have to tolerate them as well. On top of all of this, I'm going to the northern areas like tomorrow for my supposed honeymoon. And I'm absolutely dreading it because we all know what a honeymoon means. I would rather jump under a train than let that man touch me. So here's the update, guys. My cousin or now husband hasn't left me alone for even a minute since the nikah. I'm literally in the bathroom, sitting on a freaking toilet as I write this. I absolutely hate my life. Edit. Adding this here so people can get how I was actually guilt-tripped. So basically my father, he's diabetic and at a high risk for a heart attack. I was at university when this supposed accident happened. Apparently he nearly tripped off some stairs and kind of had a scare. He was immediately complaining about chest pain and was taken to a hospital. The doctors said he had a mini heartache or something. But I'm just now realizing how bullshit that story is. I was just so emotional at the time because I was very close with my father before all of this shit. And I kind of agreed on the spot because he kept saying his last wish was for me to marry my cousin. Everyone around me was basically acting like he was dying, so I caved and said yes. Next thing I know, my father is being discharged in the evening and my nikah is set for 2 days later. Update 4. A tiny update because the only friends/people I have to talk now are strangers on Reddit. My life is absolutely shit. Anyways, after reading the comments, I've decided to be an absolute witch about this whole marriage. I will be making everyone's life miserable and going forward, especially my psycho cousin. I'm also leaving in a few hours for my honeymoon trip, so there's that. Let's just hope I'm unbearable enough for him to not touch me. Slightly smiling face. Update 5. So this is the final update for now. Maybe I'll update somewhere in the future. Let's start with the honeymoon trip. We went to Skardu, northern Pakistan, and it went amazing, at least for me. He had rented out this small cabin thing for us. It had 2 bedrooms, a small kitchen and a small living room. The spare bedroom was locked and the one we were supposed to stay in was all decorated and shit. Apparently he had one of his friends from that area have it decorated with roses, candles and lights. Basically trying to set the mood or whatever. The mood was in fact ruined very soon after. The moment I walked in, the first thing I did was scream about having to share a bedroom with him. I ruined the decorations, threw out the candles, pulled down the lights and then locked myself inside. He had to get the other bedroom unlocked and sleep there. The next day we went sightseeing and I would refuse to walk next to him, even sit in the passenger seat of the car he rented. I wouldn't take any pictures with him, would yell at him and wouldn't let him touch me at all. When we got back to the cabin, I locked myself inside again. The next day was exactly the same, except the part where I spent his money on ridiculous things. When we got back to the cabin we had an argument. I called him every insult in the book, followed by throwing a vase at him and then locking myself inside the bedroom again. I guess he complained to my parents because as I was getting ready to sleep my father called. I did not pick up. So the entire night my phone was ringing with multiple calls from multiple family members, including his family. At one point he even knocked on my door asking me to pick up my parents' call, but I refused. The next morning while I was eating breakfast my parents and his were on a group video call with him. He turned the phone towards me and they tried talking to me. I didn't reply at all and basically told them all to fuck off and that they were dead to me, in Urdu of course. What followed was a series of arguments, and then eventually him having to cut the trip short. Since the day I have come back, all the elders in my family have been trying to get me to understand how unfair I'm being and blah blah blah. It's annoying, but I deal with it because I get to insult them as much as I want. Me and my cousin have also been sleeping in different bedrooms as of now because I threw cold water on him while he was sleeping. He hasn't tried to touch me again after the vase incident on the trip. His family has tried to lecture me, but they gave up after I insulted them and my dearest husband told them to leave me alone. I am not talking to my parents or brothers, they're all blocked. My in-laws have stated to avoid me and my hubby dearest has given up on me. I guess the trophy isn't so appealing when it starts to refuse him. So that's it for now. This is the final update. I might post sometime in the future but not sure. Thank you to all the people that helped me and gave me advice. I've looked into the NGOs and have reached out to a few. Maybe one day I'll finally manage to escape this hellhole.